All right, so Idaho. This is for the next lab. So what we're going to do is we're basically, in the previous lab, we more or less made the graphics. I added a couple of extra graphics in here just so you wouldn't have to draw them all, obviously, because otherwise it's a lot of the same thing and you're not really getting a ton out of it. So just be time consuming and I don't want to waste any extra time that we don't need to. Okay, so in this one though, what we're going to do is we are going to basically add the animation components to it. And then the next class, we're going to go ahead and we are going to do the coding. Okay. So what we have basically is this. If you were to look at this, we have 3 panels. Okay. And just so you remember, this is the actual frame here. Okay. So if I move both these, maybe you can tell it better, right? So this is actually what's being shown. Not so these other ones over here are not being shown yet. What's going to happen is this basically at its most upper level, we are going to make a button that just says like next. You're going to click on it and it's just going to move these over and you're going to go boom, 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 interact with it. And then you're going to click and it's going to move this over. And then when you click again, it'll start at the beginning. And that's basically how it's going to work. We're just going to have a button that clicks to go from frame to frame to frame. And all we're literally going to do is in the timeline, we're just going to have an animation of this animating. So from frame 0 or frame 1 to 15, we'll just have an animation that goes like this, and then from 15 to 30, we'll have an animation that goes like this. And all we're going to do is we're going to write code that's going to tell it to stop at those specific moments. Okay. All right. So each one of these is a symbol. All right. So if I look at properties, you can see panel 3, panel 2, and panel 1. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3. So which is cool. So basically, they're all self-encapsulated. So when I double click on one, I can see that this one has these various components. It has a background, cone, and well, I'm gonna get rid of that. And so it's got car, which isn't there yet, and cone and background. Okay, so basically, it's gonna have all of the elements in it. Watching my brother-in-law's dog, and she's so awesome. She just barks all the time at nothing. So it's really great. I have 2 dogs. You may have noticed you never heard them. This one you hear all the time because it's great. All right, I yelled at her, so we'll see how long that lasts for. All right, so yeah, so that's what we have. Now this is the way that it's going to function. So like I said, at the upper level here, right? So when I'm in past these, there'll just be a button that we can click to go next to next to next. But inside of each one of these, we're going to have interaction that you can click on things and make things happen. We're basically going to do the same thing for all of them. What we're going to do is we're going to have basically the one character that you can click on, that when you click on it, it'll make an animation play. All right. So, and we'll have different motions. So when you hover over it, he'll do something. And then when you click on him, it'll play an animation. So this is actually what's going to end up happening. We're going to write code. So if we were to play this right now, if we had this animation going to, let's say, 4 seconds. Okay, so go ahead and do this with me. So I'm just going to, I've got my timeline open here. Make sure you're in panel 1. And I'm just going to go to 4 seconds. I'm going to click and drag down like this. Okay, so click and drag. You'll notice that sometimes if you're already on it, see how there's a little marquee? That's just, it's going to add, it's going to like drag frames. Don't do that. You want to just click off and then click and drag and then hit F5. Or you can right click and go insert frame. All right. If you don't like that, just do it to each one. Like if you don't want to click and drag, you can just go right down the line. Either way. Okay. So what will happen is when we go to play this, the thing would just play straight through, right? Like if I hit enter, it just plays through the animation. What we're going to do is this. We are going to, not now, we're going to write code that's going to say on frame 1, stop. So it's not going to play. Okay. Like, so nothing's going to happen. Now you'll be able to move around and, whatever. But when you click on whatever element, in this case, it's going to be him, it's going to say, go to next frame and play. And then it's going to play the whole thing. Okay. So in essence, all we're really doing is the same thing we're doing in the other one, where we're going to make a button that just says play. So initially it's going to be stop, and then you click on a button, and then it plays. And that's how the interaction is going to work in its most basic core. So pretty much all of them are going to be set up the same way, where what we're going to do is we're going to have one frame. We're going to be a first frame where it's just going to be this, and then we'll have the actual animation happening after. Okay, so What that means is we have cone here. So what I want to do is I'm just going to hit F6 here, or you right click and insert keyframe. Okay. And the background won't have to do that because nothing happens with the background. Okay. So what I want to have happen is that he looks like this. And then when you go and click on him, I want to change who he is. Because what's going to happen is I want it that when a car there's going to be a car that drives by, that's going to play in this part of the animation. Okay. So when I click on him, I want his mood to change. So I'm actually going to delete this guy. Okay. So there is none. And then I made another one that was, where are you? It's underneath panel 1 folder. So we had cone reaching, which is going to be when we hover. And then there's cone sit pout. So I'm going to take cone sit pout. I'm just going to click and drag that over here. And we'll just try to position it. Now you'll see it'll go like this, right? Now it's hard to position it because I can't really see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on onion skinning, which is this guy here. And I can just now grab this. Make sure you're on the second frame, obviously. And I'm just going to use my arrow keys to try and get it like close to where it was. Okay, good. And then I'll just turn this back off. This will make it run really slow. So only turn this on like when you're using it. Okay. So now he'll pout, right? So basically the first frame is going to look like this. And then when I click on him, it's going to go boom and play. And so for the whole animation, I just want him pouting. That's just going to be his pose. And the animation is actually just going to be a car that drives by. And that's going to be it. Okay. So right here, I need to add the car. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit F6, or you can hit insert keyframe. All right. And then I'm just going to drag my car in, and I have this car here. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag the car in, and now it's in there. Now notice, see how there's a blank keyframe here? See how there's an empty circle and it's a dark gray? That means there's nothing in that frame because the car doesn't exist yet. Then here there's a black dot. Black dot means there's something on that layer. So if I delete this, it would show up as that blank. Okay. Now, I just want this to animate and come across. Okay. Don't worry about it looking weird. I'll show you that in a second. So basically, you want it to come in and drive by him. That's what's going to happen. All right. Now, what we want to do is this. I'm going to show you in the next video how to do this, but I already set it up on this one just because this one's really simple and I didn't want to waste time. I'm going to show you how to do it. If you look over here, see these mouths? I'm going to show you how to do it with that. Okay, so it's basically the same subset, but I'm going to show you what it is first, and then you'll kind of understand. So basically, inside of this graphic symbol, you will see there are these, I did this. Basically, I duplicated it, and then I just squashed one part of it and extended another part, so it looks like it's turning, if that makes sense. Okay, but it's just 3 frames. So I just went here and I just went F6, which duplicates the previous layer. And then I went like this. I would take it and then I'd use Q and I shrunk this side. Oops. Let me hold control as I do it. I shrunk this side and then I grabbed this and I held Q again and I extended that side. You see what I'm saying? So I just did that 1 frame at a time all the way up. And I'm just going to remove this. Right click, remove frames. But that's how I did it, all right? Now, obviously, what you will see when we're in here is that it's constantly playing, right? Which is probably not something that you want. The reason why I did that is that he's going to drive here, but then he's got to turn and then go around him, right? So the perspective of the car would slightly change. So, but obviously, like it should, it's just going to loop it. But we can actually change that. So I'm going to select this guy. And then I want you to open up, I don't know if it's over here. I'm on my laptop today because something we're going to do later won't work on my desktop. And I want you to go to Frame Picker. Okay. What Frame Picker lets you do is that basically all of the frames inside of a symbol. So in this symbol, it has these frames in here, right? These are the frames that I drew. So if I double click on it, you would see those 4 frames. These are the 4 frames. And what it lets me do is this. Right now it's on loop, which means it's just going to loop though. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this to single frame. Now you're going to notice when I scrub, it's not doing that anymore. Okay. So it's going to loop, and then, or I can change that to single or loop. And then the other thing it does is this. I'm going to say that it's going to get there kind of quick. Let's say, I don't know, 1 second. So we'll say at 1 second, I'm going to go ahead and I want this to basically turn to the side. So I'm just going to use number 3 here. And I'm just going to click on 3. So now you're going to see it's this drawing, and then it goes to that drawing. And then what I'm going to do is he'll do that for a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to say he's going to go back to 2. So basically he's going to go like this, boom, and then boom. So he's going to turn and then kind of come back. So I didn't use all of them because I could go, 1 or, do 2, 3, 4 to turn him and then go 3, 2, 1 to turn him back. But honestly, it doesn't look that good. Actually, it's better doing fewer. So that's why there's more of them than we actually need, because I was going to do that, but it didn't look very good. So I'm just going to do it this way instead. So basically, I just set up this frame, then that frame. Okay. So now I'm just going to put the general position. So here, the car should be much bigger. So I just make sure you have Q, the free transform. And you need to hold shift to keep it proportionate. And you just want to make sure that it's off screen. So I'm going to go like this. And I don't really need this anymore. So I'm just going to plop this guy maybe in here. There we go. I'll go to properties. Okay. So, so it's got to be scaled. Then I'm going to put the position of the next one. So I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to put it here. And that's going to be a little bit bigger. He looks a little small. Okay. So basically this is the starting position. This is where it's going to go next. And then after that, he's going to be here. So let me see. How's that look compared to the other one? That's pretty close, actually. So he's going to be a little bit smaller. We'll put him like this. Okay. And then I need the final position. So I'm just going to go to the end here, and I'm just going to hit F6. Okay. And then we're just going to put him in the final position. And he just needs to shrink and go off screen. Now, just remember, too, right here, he's off screen. See this little line, this black line here? That's the stage. So that means he's not showing up on the scene yet. All right. So what we've been doing this whole time has been what we call motion tween. I think I put it in the thing there. So, and that's what we're going to use most of the time. The problem is with motion tween is that you're not really allowed to use the frame picker with it. It doesn't, it's just very weird. It doesn't work well. So what we're actually going to do is classic tween. And that's how we're going to tween this. Because we don't really need to have a nice curvature. I'm not as concerned about it. So I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. So it can be linear because the car is driving in a straight path. So I don't need to be able to adjust my path of motion. So we're just going to go ahead and do it like this. All right. So to apply the classic tween, I'm just going to right click in here and we're going to go create classic tween. And just so you're aware too, normally what we do is if we wanted to have a motion tween, I just make one key in the beginning and then I right click, go motion tween. And then every time I do something, it will automatically create the key. You'll notice here, oh, it did make a key. All right. Needs to not do that. Well, we'll make the key now, but it goes from key to key, and each key is a new drawing that blends to the position of. Okay, so it's a little bit different where this one's physically moving the drawing. This one, each time there's a new frame here, it's a new drawing, which obviously it is because I did the frame picker. Okay, so we're gonna go there to there, and then I'm just gonna go in here, right click, create classic tween, and then right click, create classic tween. Okay, and then if we just hit enter, you're gonna see the car is gonna go around and go like that. Okay. So a couple things we can do to kind of adjust this. You can see it's going pretty much a linear speed, which means it's going, it's neither speeding up or slowing down. So if he's coming up to the cone, he should probably slow down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click in here, and then if you go to the properties, let's see, do I gotta click on this? Where are you? I don't know if my thing's in the way. You'll see that we have effect classic ease, and then we have this number here. I'm going to go ahead and put in 100. Come on. Do it. 100. I mean, I got to click and drag. Okay, it wants me to click and drag. Apparently it doesn't want me to do the number. So what that's going to do is it's going to start out faster, and then it's going to slow down when it gets up there. And then this can stay linear because I don't really care. And then I want the same thing to happen here because obviously When the car's close to you, it's going to look like it's moving faster, and because of perspective, it's going to look like it's moving slower as it gets farther away. So I'm just going to click in here and do the same thing. I'm just going to click and drag to the right. Come on. There we go. You can see it switches to ease out. Oh, we can also just click on it there. That would work too. Okay, so now if I hit enter, you'll see he kind of goes a little bit fast, doesn't he? See this? And also he goes in him a little bit. So I'm going to, yeah, let's take this guy and put him over this way a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now if you look, it goes like this, and then he's just going to drive away. And he looks sad, okay? Now the other thing I'm missing besides the animation is just the text up here, okay? So, because right now you don't know what's going on, right? So I'm going to add another layer onto this. And I already put it on the other ones because once I show you once, you don't need to do it again. So we'll just call it text so that I know what it is. And then on here, I'm going to use the rectangle tool. I'm going to make my fill white. Stroke will be black. We'll do 3 for the stroke size. And then I want it rounded, okay? And then we'll just do 25. And then I'm just going to draw kind of a rounded rectangle, or it won't work. Make sure I'm on first frame. It doesn't really matter actually with this. Cool. There it goes. I don't know why it was being weird. Okay, sometimes my whatchamacallit thing gets in the way. Okay, so I'm going to do a rectangle here, okay? And then, so I got my rounded rectangle. I'm just going to go ahead and convert that to a symbol just so it's nice and contained. So I'm just going to hit F8, or you can go to Modify, Convert to Symbol. And we're just going to call this panel 01 underscore text underscore GPC. It's just going to be a graphic. I'm just going to do a graphic, okay? Yay, I'll double click on that. And I just want to put my text in there. So I'm going to do another layer. So this we'll call the text bubble. And then this will actually just call the text. All right. And then I'm just going to go down here and you can see the type tool, or text tool. And I don't really care about that. Okay, so this, I'm just going to do Comic Sans because it's a comic. And my size I want to be 24. And the color I want to be black. And I think that's good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag a box. When you click and drag a box, it'll make sure that it fits in the box. And since I'm drawing or I'm writing text inside of this area, otherwise it'll just keep going to the right. So I'm just going to do, once there was a cone. He was very lonely. He felt like everyone avoided him. Like that. Okay? And then I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. Let's pull it up this way too. Not that it's going to matter. Okay, good. And I'm just going to click to the select tool. And I'm just going to kind of shimmy it over here a little bit. And down a little bit. And then my my bubble looks a little bit large. So I'm going to switch to the direct subselection tool here. And I'm just going to make sure I'm on that layer. Click and drag like this to grab just the bottom points. And I'm just going to use the arrow keys to push it up, like so. If you hold shift, it does larger increments as opposed to just not holding shift. All right, I'm going to go back to my regular selection tool. I'm going to click off. That looks good. I'm going to click back to panel 1. And now we have my, text, and we have the car driving by, okay? All right. So right now it's not going to totally function because we don't have any increments. So like if we were to test this, you're just going to see it's just going to play just like you're seeing. So there's nothing too fantastic. But all the rest are going to be set up the same way, where we're going to have a thing where it's just going to say stop. So it's going to look like this. This is what they're going to see until they click on him. We're going to make him a button, and then it will play through like the rest of the animation. And then since stop will be on there, when it loops back, it will stop again. So you can keep clicking it and keep making the animation happen. But that's the basic idea of it, okay? So hopefully that made sense. In the next one, we are going to do some lip sync, which should be kind of fun, I guess. All right. Good luck.